Right, so just days after saying that Labour will not recognise the existence of a Palestinian state unless it is okay with Israel first, Keir Starmer has, as he always does when the wind blows in his face, or in this case public opinion on such matters blows up in his face, completely U-turned on this, now saying Palestinian statehood is the inherent right of the Palestinian people. Did you suddenly realise that you were losing votes over this ridiculous stance? Did someone with some discernible legal ability, something Starmer seems to sorely lack despite being the former Director of Public Prosecutions, suddenly inform you that there was no basis for such thinking in international law and was actually in violation of human rights? You were a human rights barrister once upon a time, right? Or have you got some kind of a, split personality disorder that sees you swing from one dishonest mass of imbecile enthusiasms to another position of paralysing stupidity within a couple of days? He has all the integrity of an overdunked rich tea biscuit. It's a bit of an irony that a man so widely disliked by so many people switches from what he thinks is one populist position to another when he's anything but popular. But it just goes to show that he actually stands for nothing and will say or do whatever it takes to get himself into power, which is precisely why he should never get anywhere near it. Right, so Keir Starmer has now switched from refusing to recognise a Palestinian state unless Israel supports it, granting powers to Israel over the land and people they occupy and have occupied illegally for decades that they neither deserve nor should have, in full-on Zionist without equivocation mode as he was, to seeing that view go down like a cup of cold sick with the nation, not to mention many members of his own party. This has all come out in an interview with ITV News, as it happens, where he went ahead and unwisely said, "The comments from Prime Minister Netanyahu are unacceptable and they're wrong. Palestinian statehood is not in the gift of a neighbour. It's the inalienable right of the Palestinian people. It's also the only way to secure settlement and a secure future. But they're wrong. They're unacceptable. A Labour government would work with international partners to that two-state solution, a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state." Just days ago he was saying that he would only recognise a Palestinian state if Israel agreed to it, formally binning his party's decades-long position of recognising a Palestinian state should it come to power. He literally binned this as Labour official party policy just last Tuesday. So what's changed since last Tuesday that could warrant this full-on U-turn on this issue then? Israel is still bombing Gaza, innocent people are still dying, still being denied aid, still being denied shelter, still having their basic rights denied to them. Nothing happening in Gaza has changed since last Tuesday to force Starmer into what looks like a total retreat. Seemingly, we are taking his word here for it anyway, seems like a total retreat. So there's no guarantees he means anything at all by this, because it is just his word. But he clearly wants us to think as much. Therefore, the only answer can be, there's a political reason behind all of this. We're in an election year, aren't we? This is proven unpopular. We better row back on it. It's only words, though. If that's enough to fool you, then we'll fool you. Until and unless he reinstates Palestinian state recognition as official Labour Party policy that he undid earlier this week, it's meaningless. Nobody in their right mind should take Keir Starmer at his word because the man lies like a rug. It's pretty obvious that it has to be people power, public opinion that has swung this. Because he's gone from Israel having a final say on a Palestinian state to Palestinians having an inalienable right to statehood that is not the gift of a neighbour. The hypocrisy is just staggering. Israel have repeatedly said they won't accept, ever, a two-state solution now, despite pretending otherwise for years. This has come from Netanyahu himself, to the Israeli ambassador to the UK, Zippy Hotovely, to the hard right of Netanyahu's cabinet, your Ben Gavirs and your Smotriches. Israel do not want a Palestinian state. They want those people gone, relocated or wiped out. They don't care which. Seems to see it as their right to do that. It is not, and they can't keep being allowed to hide behind their religion to excuse that either. Functionally, I think the penny has dropped in Starmer's brill-creamed head that this is a vote loser and he can't afford to lose votes. Headline voting intention even, I don't buy. I think Starmer has alienated far more voters and voting demographics than polling is indicating, and things in reality are far tighter for him than the media are telling us it is. For as long as he needs our votes, he's going to bend to public pressure and bend to public will. But once he's got our votes, once he's got into power, he no longer will, and he will not care what we think. That's just a massive warning sign that he shouldn't be allowed anywhere near power. Of course, I'm far from the only person pointing out Starmer's two-faced shamelessness here. Social media has had a bit of a mini meltdown over it. Humanity United has said, "I absolutely hate this man. Nothing about him is genuine and he changes by the hour. Not a backbone, no firm position, zero policies that are different to Conservatives. Not an ounce of credibility sleepwalking into an election. At least the Conservatives are out loud and proud that they are devils. Can't trust the silence but deadly Labour government." Game of Thrones actor Miltos Yerolimiou said, "This fraud revoked a long-standing Labour policy to recognise the state of Palestine. He just makes up a different answer for whoever is asking the question. And you think it's a good idea to make him PM? Really?" And Ashok Kumar said, 2 months ago, to detract from his claim that Israel can cut off food and water, he announced he'd recognise a Palestinian state. Then 2 days ago he said that was conditional on Israel. That was 1 day before Israel said they wouldn't. Now he's saying he would again. LOL, what a weirdo. And that raised another interesting point, which I'd forgotten as I was writing this. Not that the bit about Starmer claiming Israel had the right to cut off food, water and medical aid from Gaza, we will never forget that, nor the ensuing slew of resignations from Labour members and councillors alike in utter disgust at it. But that he pledged his devotion to a Palestinian state then, when he backtracked over those comments. He still has never apologised for making them, I might add. So that actually means he pledged his support to a Palestinian state. Then when the furore surrounding that died down, he felt brave enough to tear up Labour's established position towards a Palestinian state. And following the fallout from this, along with saying Israel had a right to a say in the matter, he's now saying no they do not, in a bid to calm things down again, after he himself caused yet another fallout. I find it impossible to believe he doesn't know what he's doing. Understanding what he's doing, that might be slightly different. He is most likely being told what to do by others, your Mandelsons, your Blairs, your Israel lobby even. But he knows what he's doing insofar as he's got his orders, got his instructions, and he obeys that. But he keeps taking things too far because he doesn't understand it, because he's so desperately out of touch with ordinary people and public opinion, even on the matter of Israel and Gaza, that he oversteps, and then he ends up having to row back. I don't believe for one moment he believes in any of this. Once in power and no longer worried about votes, I can quite conceivably see him and his handlers, by him I mean his handlers probably, binning the notion of a two-state solution entirely. Who would put it past him or them? I don't think he means it, but then I struggle to believe anything he ever says. He's lied too often on too many things. The only thing I honestly do believe is that he will do and say whatever he thinks it will take to get him into number 10 at any cost. A power-obsessed nomarch who, once he gets there, will have no idea what to do after. But plenty of people that he surrounds himself with will, and they'll be the people actually running the country. He's right to be worried about his polling, the real numbers, not the headline figures the news quote. As this recent by-election I covered went to show, a ward in one of Labour's safest seats in the country, lost to the Tories of all people, seemingly because the Muslim and Jewish vote abandoned Labour. These are issues. Weasel words and U-turns won't be able to fix these issues. You should probably watch this video next, in which case, and I'll hopefully see you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.